Hey, dude. So bear with me a little bit. This is my first time doing this, but let's do a kind of like a little video track walk. Just go through some things here at St. Pete. We'll start with St. Pete since it's next week. But here we go. This is my lap from qualifying last year, and we'll just start here on the front straight, and we'll go corner by corner. So heading down the front straight. Remember, we'll be shifting out slightly different RPM this year. A couple things that might be different will be maybe a little bit in our corner speeds. We might be a little quicker than we were last year with actually being able to get down to our minimum ride height now. But braking for turn one, going to be just about almost to the, let's see what it is, the first signboard, 400 board. Going to be almost there. We may actually be able to go a little deeper now, just with making them probably a little bit more downforce than we were last year with the lower ride heights. A couple of visual markers, almost at the end, right there. That white line on the end, if you don't want to just use the signboards there. Braking all the way down to second gear. Remember, the key is to brake in a straight line, get it slowed, and get it turned, so that way we can get the car pointed by this first apex and then start unwinding the wheel. So we really want just to have the car pointed as much by this first apex so we can have a straight line back off the corner as possible. So here we should just be unwinding and unwinding, building up that momentum. For turn three, a little bit of this curb's okay, but just remember it's going to kind of pop the car up in the air a little bit. So keep those eyes up, get looking all the way through the corner. You can see I basically almost have the car aimed to nail at the curb, but kind of plan on clearing the curb. So good landing, but again, as I'm always going to the power as I'm opening my hands. So make sure we can be able to open those hands. If you can't open your hands, just be a little patient. Let the car turn a little bit more before you get back to that power. Hustle that car back to the left. You know, it's probably going to be the same this year with the walls. They're not going to change it back to the way it used to be. So it's going to be a little slower than what it was originally. Let's backtrack there a little bit. So we're coming back down here. Remember, this bump kind of upsets the car, so it's kind of normal for everybody to bring the car back a little to the right. Braking really, really hard, trying to get it all slowed down in a straight line just before the signboard on the left. Let's see if we can find another visual cue. Kind of got this break in the wall. You can see that white line. That paint, that'll probably still be there. And then it's just probably about the 350 mark. Braking all the way down to second again. Getting it turned. And remember, try not to use this curb. That curb might upset the car a little bit. And you just want to get the good shot off the corner, because whatever speed you carry up off this corner will carry into the next one. Keep it tight, but we don't want to be up on this curb. It might just upset the car too much. And with our lower ride heights, I don't think it's going to be necessary. Keep it all the way tight, and then wait for those hands. So think about getting the car, just get it turned through the corner. That way you can open those hands and treat this next little section like a really short little straightaway. But it's important since we're coming from such a low speed. Whatever shot you get off the corner kind of gets amplified, even though it's not a very long straightaway. The fact that we're coming from such a low speed and accelerating out in a lower gear, getting the throttle just a little earlier is worth a good chunk of time. Getting full speed, nice and close to that wall there on the right. That way we can straight line our braking zone, kind of have it set up diagonally here. So you can brake in a straight line and probably, right, let's see if I can draw a little line. Right there. That's probably right in there is probably where we're going to start our turn in. So think about braking in a straight line all the way to that point, and then easing it back and starting a nice slow arc into the corner. Continue on. So braking straight line and trailing that brake all the way and keeping that weight on the nose. Here, just about getting it pointed. Patience, patience. That way we can unwind that wheel quickly off the corner and build up a little speed. It's all going to be second gear through here. So just getting up off the corner. And again, like I said, when we're coming from such a low speed, it's going to be important just to get back to that throttle, get that wheel straight as quickly as possible so that we can build up any speed we can in between these short little sections. Good brush. This corner, it's going to be pretty much trail braking all the way in. So from here, you can see I don't even have the steering wheel straight, so the braking is always going to be slightly compromised. Get those eyes in the corner and wait for that dip. There's that dip there at apex. Want to have the car pointed and turned by that dip so we can get the drive off the corner. You can use it, kind of help you carry a little speed into the corner, but you mostly just want to think about trailing that brake all the way in, getting it turned by that dip so we can get a straight shot off against that dip. And you can see that's just right when I pick up the throttle. So at that point, I'm like, okay, I got the car turned. I can get pointed. I can probably squeeze back to some power. Get that drive off, up to third, up to fourth. And there's going to be that little dip right here in the road. Remember, it's kind of to be expected. So this might be the one that we don't use all the track, depending on how it's making the car react. And it might be okay to kind of draw your line right around here and actually go wider because that little dip might upset the car a little bit. So don't think about having to be right beside that wall, but I think I do get pretty close to it right here, but I'm probably about a foot or two off on the inside. See, I just barely clipped it. Let's back that up just a tiny bit. Remember, it's all going to be basically braking as deep as possible, parking the car, getting it turned, and shooting it off the corner. So braking reference right here is this little crosswalk. Crosswalk right here, ramp it up to 10. Park the car and try to stay off that curb on the inside. Just want to brake in a straight line. And then as we go in, we'll get it turned. Like that. Brake in a straight line all the way down second gear again. You can kind of use these black marks as kind of something to follow. But come in nice and tight. Remember, we want to be right beside this curb, just not up on it. Yep. So right in here. And then just thinking about getting your eyes to the corner. Remember, no curb. Watch my hands here. So remember, like I said, we just want to be able to open our hands and get the best drive off the corner. I always say try to watch your hands first, but here I recognize that I got the car positioned enough that if I commit to the throttle, it's going to help me open my hands. So the hands are like night and day, just open. And same thing when you hear the throttle pick up. So if we have our car set up correctly, that's kind of what we want. Is that just remember the name of the game is see how fast you can open your hands. Doesn't mean you have to do everything with the steering wheel or the brakes. You can also use the throttle. You just have to kind of know where you're positioned at, and if the car's pointed out of the corner and you're kind of well on your way, don't be afraid to use that throttle and really drive the car off the corner. Third, those eyes to the corner as close as we can to that wall here on the right, and I like to just get my focus looking all the way through here. So all the way through. Once you're coming in, I don't even want to look at this wall on the right. I just want to find my next apex. Really get my eyes up the road. Remember, we can use almost more than all the road, so don't be afraid to ramp it up on these curbs. I think those are still going to be pretty easy for us to use. And really get on there. Again, I'm already looking all the way down here if you want a focal point. So as you're coming to the corner, don't be looking out here. So that's where you'll go. Go over here. Once it's been landed, freeze shot of throttle, right back to the brakes. Patience, 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 patience. Just think about getting the car turned, going good speed, and then get the exit off the corner. Let's go back. Let's just watch the whole lap at full speed, and I'll try to talk as quickly as I can, just kind of my mindset as I go through the lap. So coming down the front straight, waiting for my 350 mark, right firm on the brakes. Get it turned, get it turned, get it turned, back to the power, eyes up, knees a little bit of that curb, brake, back on the throttle. A nice early turning, slow with those hands, squeeze back once I get it turned. All the way down to the 350 board, firm on the brakes. Park it, get it turned, back to the power. Breathe, get it turned. All the way through, draw that straight line, firm, trailing off, getting it turned, back to the power. Trail it in, wait for the dip, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Eyes up, remember don't need to use all the apex, all the road. Just let it be free and try to keep it smooth. All the way to the crosswalk, firm on the brakes. Park it, get it turned, got it. Come in nice and tight, keep those eyes up, look all the way through the corner, use that curve, breathe, back to it, firm on the brakes, roll, good speed, patience for the center. Don't fight it, not a whole lot to be going on there to get the drive off the corner. And that's it. If you have any questions, shoot me a text, let me know. If anything wasn't clear, let me know and I'll be happy to answer it. Also let me know if this was helpful at all, kind of going through it and just kind of taking a good little slow look at everything. Okay, I'll talk to you soon, dude.